GT7 dropped an interesting combination on us. Dragon Trail Gardens in Group 4. It's a tricky one, mixing different cars, but since it's Group 4, braking and handling shouldn't be too difficult. The layout though, super technical. It opens the door for some very nice dive bombs, especially in the tighter sections of the track. And yes, the infamous chicane, or whatever I want to call it, I guess. I mean, I got down a pretty decent lap for the race and got straight into the race, which started off pretty solid. I mean, not that much happened, but yeah, the curbs, they can be quite brutal, but there you have it. The first chance to go for a dive, and of course, there we have it. I kind of tried to avoid that move, but later when I watched the replay, it wasn't exactly that bad, but it was a serious dive. I mean, I tried backing out of it and of course letting him pass. But this is one of those tracks where anything can happen, so I stayed close, and just a couple of corners later, he slightly misjudged his entry into the corner, and I kind of squeezed myself in there. Well, not the cleanest move that I've ever done, but I just got my place back. And this is where the real chaos kicked in. I started losing positions, because that's how you usually do it here. So one dive after another incident after another incident, and I suddenly got myself down to P6. Definitely, it's not ideal when you're aiming for a strong finish. One of the passes wasn't exactly anything too special. It was just a little nudged, and he slipped through on the inside of the corner. I tried to fight back. I really tried to hold that line, but he kind of muscled his way through. Maybe he was just frustrated about the earlier move. I don't know, but it kicked off a really big mess. Still, I was pushing to kind of save what was possible out of this race, and you probably already know what's going to happen next. We got ourselves into the next breaking point, and of course, another dive. I guess that's how it usually goes here. I mean, I had no chance, dropped again, but this time I'm in P11, which is definitely not ideal, and this is probably the most chaotic part of the race. Cars were basically flying everywhere, just dive bombs, one after another basically, and I really tried to stay out of trouble, but that cost me another place, as you can see. So I was down into P12, which definitely wasn't ideal. So I tried getting past, and then one hit after another, and yeah, I kind of got myself into P10, but then, of course, we need another dive bump, but this time I am completely pushed off the track, and yes, as you can see, I am down to P13. So it's not an ideal start of the race. I kind of tried to go back into P12, but it didn't really work out because he had the inside of the corner, and if he has the inside of the corner, that usually means that I am definitely going to lose the place. So I really tried defending hard, but honestly at this point I didn't even know what to say. Just, I guess, one of those races where you don't know what to do. And then it's really hard to judge what someone is going to do when there is a crash and they literally stopped in front of you. So yeah, I didn't expect that, to be honest. I really didn't expect that crash, but yet it happened. But now I'm down into P11, and I'll try to fight my way through the pack. But sometimes, no matter how hard you try, things just don't go your way. And that's exactly what happened to me. I hit the curbs again, trying to stay aggressive, and boom, half a second penalty. Perfect. And I think my reaction said everything about this race. It really summed up this entire race. So, yes, this is how Daily Race B looked like for me. So, this time it was time to reset and get ready for the next race. And I think this one actually started off pretty clean. I mean, at least for me. I saw the usual chaos behind, but up in the front, things looked fairly stable until, well, this race started slipping into the usual rhythm of unpredictable driving and last-minute dives, as it usually goes here. I had this green Lamborghini ahead of me, and to be fair, he was actually doing a pretty solid job. Keeping that Lamborghini under control on this track isn't easy. So I was closing in and just waiting for a chance, I guess. So when P1 made a small mistake, and that gave the Lamborghini a real chance to strike and eventually go for that P1. But now we had the chicane, and it's all about committing to it. But of course, you have to send it over the curbs. But if someone misses their line, it's really difficult to judge when and how are they going to position the car on the track and how much speed they're actually going to carry out of the corner. And I think there was a bit of lag in this whole situation. So it turned into... It's hard to say what kind of situation, but I think I should have been more careful there. But of course, as it usually goes here, yes, I'm getting myself squeezed into the hairpin because that's usually how it goes. And of course, dropping a place. But it wasn't that bad, I mean, considering the race that we had before. So it was like fairly okay, just misjudgment, I would assume. But yes, that's how it goes here. And then I found myself behind P3, and I wanted to get that P3. So he ran slightly too wide, probably because he got onto the power early and misjudged the corner. And that put us side by side for the next section. I was nowhere near the inside of the corner, so I had to commit on the outside line. So I figured he will probably brake late, and he did. And it was just a perfect setup for a very clean cutback. I think I timed it just about right, and of course I got that place. There was a little bit of a contact, but I don't think that was a wrong or a bad move. I think it was actually a fairly good one. But then, of course, as it usually goes here, something needs to go wrong. And this time, I'm the one to blame here. I misjudged my braking point, and of course, I lost a couple of positions. So I actually thought I braked on time, but I probably carried more speed because it was closer to the car up ahead. And of course, this means that I'm going to carry more speed. And the last chicane was pretty nice. So yeah, I was probably carrying more speed and should have been more careful. Definitely should have been more careful in the slipstream. But of course, we didn't have to wait for too long for something to happen up in the front. And as usual, a lot of driving, so to say. I'm not sure what kind of driving that is, because a lot of bumps, a lot of moves. But luckily for me, the driver behind me decided to give me a nice push. So I thought maybe this is going to go well. Maybe I can get something out of this. But unfortunately, when you get all of this chaos in front, you just don't know what to do. Like, we had 5-6 cars just fighting for one position, and 5 cars don't go into the same corner side by side. They just don't. This is once again where the chaos unfolded. So you can see that battle for P1 and P2, and they're going side by side. A little bit of a contact, and then completely loses the Lamborghini. But now I'm on the outside, which is usually not the best place to be. But somehow I got over that curb. It was fairly clean, I gotta say. And I'm on the inside. But this time I'm going to keep the inside of the hairpin, because that's, I think, the only way that you can keep a place. Braking fairly late, that's what I tried to do. We're going side by side, and you can see what's going on behind me. The usual chaos. But of course, I got the inside once again for the upcoming corner, and I will get that P2. So finally, I'm doing something right. I guess I did something right. I don't know if it's right or wrong. I just don't know on this circuit anymore. It's just too much chaos for me. And of course, as it usually goes, we need another dive bump, this time in the last lap. But I successfully avoided this one and just kept my P2, which was a great success in this race. I wasn't expecting that. So, crossing the finish line, P2 in this very interesting race, so to say. And we are going into the third race of the day, which was the cleanest one by far. Then I just misjudged my line over the curbs and didn't get a good exit, which of course helped P6 to get closer. And I have to mention that he wasn't too aggressive in this whole situation. So I covered down the inside, but he just kept his normal racing line, didn't really go for it. And I think this is the best approach in the early stages of the race, not only because I kept my position and I want to get a better race result in the end, but it's also because all of the other drivers behind will close up pretty soon. And that unfortunately can lead to even more chaos. So in those early stages, you really want to avoid those incidents and eventually going for the moves that are kind of tricky, so to say, and just try to keep your place and hold your lines. And this is how you usually get a better result at the end of the race. But now I got closer to P4 and the driver in front of me also had a penalty. So it was one overtake, but the driver didn't really want to give me that much space. And I don't know if he realized that I was there on the outside, but he almost pushed me into the wall. So yeah, it's not the ideal situation, is it? But I'm in P4 and this race is actually looking fairly solid because in the last two races we had a lot of chaos. But this one, it's kind of okay-ish at this point and everyone is competitive, and this is really, really nice to see. But still at this point I thought I was faster than the driver in P3, so I just tried to change my lines a little bit, brake a little bit sooner, just get a slightly different line to improve my chances of getting a nice tow down the straight. And that's exactly what I did. I was really close, but there isn't much space either on the outside or the inside, but I just kind of tried to fake it of going down the inside, but he covered that. He really covered that very, very aggressively. And I was still behind him, like it was really, really close at this point. Getting a nice run down the straight, and I'm still in P4, but this is looking like a fairly good battle at this point. And once again, I got really, really close, and I'll have to change something, because if someone is this close in front of you, it's really hard to judge how much space you have before the curbs. And that's one of the most difficult parts of the circuit. So if you're having a very close race and you want to take the ideal line, you need to go over the curbs. But unfortunately, you lose a lot of visibility in front of you. So you need to change something. Maybe sometimes even staying half a second behind someone is better than to be within a tenth and a half or maybe even 2/10, because that will mean that you're most likely going to miss your ideal line and eventually he's going to pull away. But now the driver in P2 had... well, he had a penalty, but we were not that close to him. So I thought he was probably going to keep his place. And I was getting really, really close to P3 there. I was just right there and he was kind of missing his lines, not having the ideal exits. So I was always close, but not close enough. I even changed my view to see exactly how much space I will have. Once again, trying to stay on the outside, but again, there is a little push, so I am getting pushed off the track. So I probably should have taken a slightly different line, but this is the second time he's done something like that. Maybe he doesn't have his radar on, or it was intentional, I have no idea. But once again, I am really, really close, and I really want to get that second place, because you know, I started it back in P5 and just want to improve my result in this race. But with the driving like this, it's really difficult to judge what is he going to do next, what lines is he going to take, is he going to be slower or faster than you in a specific section. So you cannot really plan ahead, so you're pretty much reacting to that whole situation, which is definitely not ideal in a race this close. So once again, I have a pretty nice run down the straight and really try to go on the outside once again, but this time I'm going to brake fairly late, but also thinking that he might just misjudge his line, and I had a better exit because of that wider line, but this probably wasn't the ideal way of going for it. But then I just got a bit of a nudge, maybe it was too much at this point, so I thought, not sure exactly what he's trying to do there. He could have gave me a little bit more space, maybe don't push me at that point, because I almost went into the grass. And I mean, my move in the first place wasn't exactly ideal, but I went for it, even though there wasn't much space. But if there is space, I'm going to take it. But then once again, I had a pretty nice run down the straight. I'm in the slipstream, and there isn't much space in turn one, I have to admit that. But my move and my intentions were quite clear. I went to the inside and he blocked me. So with all of that, there were a couple of situations where he blocked me. He kind of pushed me into the fence, almost into the grass. Now he's missing his line. He's probably going to miss everything in this whole section. And unfortunately, I did too. And then when I bounced over the curb, it was... well, I honestly didn't believe that I was going to make it, but I'm still behind and it's the last lap of the race. So I need to try to do something. So once again, I'm going slightly deeper into the corner than he is, just to get a better exit. Because, of course, there isn't much that you can do on the outside of this corner, which you probably saw in the last lap. But again, I'm very, very close. Once again, he misses his line, and this is my shot. This is where I want to be. But then once again, he has a very poor exit. And at that point, I realized there wouldn't be that many more chances left in this race. The driver had missed the corner again, and I thought that was it. And that was it. He wasn't going to give me the spot. He already blocked me in a few earlier attempts. So if there wasn't a clean way through, I had to muscle my way in. And honestly, for all of that pushing and close racing, this ended up being the cleanest race I had on this track. So I brought it home in second place, which felt pretty satisfying despite all of the chaos behind. And yes, this pretty much wraps it up. And of course, you can let me know what you think about this combination and how your races have been going here. And of course, if you enjoyed watching the video, please feel free to subscribe, and this channel is getting close to 60,000 subscribers. So once again, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.